Hello everyone and welcome. I'm here with Toulouse School of Management, TSM, and we're going to be talking about the Master in Finance. In order to do so, I have the pleasure to welcome Silvia Rozzetto, Head First Year of the Master in Finance, accompanied with a Professor of Finance, Alex Gumbo, and a former student, Julie Dieppe, who is a graduate of the Finance and Information Technology program. The three of them are here to answer all of my questions, but first we're going to start with the pitch. The pitch, Silvia, I believe you're going to have to tell us everything that we need to know about this program within 60 seconds. Are you up for the challenge?
Let's see.
Let's see.
Okay, so the Master of Finance at the Toulouse School of Management is a 2-year program, pre-experience, and who aims at forming students for a global career in finance in France and internationally. The first year, the students receive all courses and foundations in finance, but not only, also in economics and computer science. And at the end of the first year, they do an internship so that they have a first hands-on experience and the applications of the concepts that they had. And in the second year, they can specialize in corporate finance or financial markets or finance and information technology. And then again, at the end, they have an internship. Usually, in this case, it is a form of a pre-employment. A strong point of our program is that we have a pedagogical team which is formed by international recognized researchers, by professionals from all over the world. And so the students can benefit overall of an international environment, mentoring from alumni and various activities that allow us to form the first professional network. And in this way, the students at the end, they are ready for a career all over the world in finance, in consulting, or even in corporations, both in France and internationally.
All right, thank you very much. Well, how to get in, that's the question we're going to ask, and we're going to answer, obviously, through the admissions. So what's the profile of the candidate that you recruit?
So as Silvia mentioned, it's a pre-experience program. So majority of the students on the program have finished 3-year licence or equivalent international degree. There are, however, some students who have a bit more professional experience, but on average, the ages range from early 20s to mid 20s, with some exceptions of more experienced students. In terms of their academic background, most students have done something like in economics, finance, management beforehand, but by no means all of the students. We have quite a few students from engineering schools or students who have done mathematics at bachelor level. So the idea is that, we can talk about that maybe in more detail later, but we start from scratch. So people do not have to have already a strong finance background when they arrive. We start from scratch and then take it up very fast. So students don't all have a finance background.
What was the case for you, Julie?
Yes.
Did you have any academic background in finance or?
Yes, so I had a bachelor degree in economics from Toulouse Capital University. And so after that, I wanted to have a further in-depth experience in finance. So I applied to the Master in Finance. And so it's, as Alex mentioned, we got the very introductions to the concept of finance, and so you don't really need, any background in economics or finance beforehand. Yeah.
All right. Among the students, how do you differentiate them? What's the recruitment criteria in some way?
So I think probably the single most important criteria is the academic excellence of the candidates before they come, and that they have pretty strong either maths background or at least some willingness to engage with maths during the program. In addition, they need to have a B2 level of English at least, so that needs to be proven through a test, or if they have done an English language, they're undergraduate in English language, then they don't need to prove that anymore. But
could it be the TOEIC or the TOEFL or something like that?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So that on our website we have a list of tests that are recognized. So the standard ones, as it were. We also look a little bit at work experience. Like I said, it's a pre-experience program, so obviously this is not a major criteria, but we would like them maybe to have done an internship or have some kind of way for us to tell that they're actually interested, that they know what it is that will expect them when they will start to do finance. So that's something we look at. And the letter of motivation, of course, we want to make sure they know what they're in for, that they know what the program is about, and that that's what they really want to study. For the French or the candidates who have done a French licence or bachelor, we ask to have a Taj-Maj test taken.
All right.
And for the international applicants, we recommend a GMAT, although it's not compulsory. In particular, for us, in an international context, it's sometimes difficult to evaluate exactly what is, somebody has studied, what was the content of their studies, how far were they pushed, etc. So it's useful to have that additional information. But we know that in some countries it's quite difficult to take the GMAT, so we don't make it compulsory.
It's a bit of the forbidden question, but Taj-Maj in France is like a really big thing. And is there a score that they should approach that you could give us to the students watching and be like, okay, starting at that score, it's I've got an interesting application?
It's always very hard to give an answer to that because
it's
usually
the forbidden question, I guess.
I know. But the problem is that, well, first of all, out of the 3 sections, we look mainly to the more mathematical, logical part because that's what matters in finance. And also this has to be put together with the results that you have. We look at the results starting from the back.
Okay.
So we need to see how was the math during the bac and all the other years. So it becomes very difficult because we have to put everything together, all the exams results. It would be easy. We would have a computer to do the selections that we look each single.
If someone has 18 in Maths B at the back, then maybe they can afford to have a slightly lower score in the quantitative part in the GMAT.
Since you don't need any finance, I guess math is the key word because you want to make sure that they're happy with numbers. And
yes,
that they're comfortable with
that's
those.
That's a fair statement. I mean, the master is not. It's not a master in mathematical finance. So we're not pushing this very far. But somebody who really hates doing maths will probably not like that program.
Julie, do you have any tips you could give to students applying? How could they maximize their chances of getting accepted? What did you do, for example?
I think, being themselves and being, in the motivation letter, clearly state what is their motivations to, enroll into the master program. If they have any gaps, list them up, explain why you have this gap, and being honest, because as Sylvia and Alex mentioned, they look at every application individually. So if sometimes you can have a gap, but if you have a logical explanation to that, it can be a plus for your application.
Do you have any other tips you could share with us for the people watching and applying with fear of getting rejected?
No, I would say just try to get all the information. They can always pose questions and meet us at the open days that we hold every year in February. But prepare the package and be prepared. I mean, we are pretty selective. We receive around 700 applications each year and for 60, 70 places. So it's, but we look at each single file. So it's.
All right, perfectly clear. Well, one cliche we haven't debunked is that if you want to do finance, you need to be quite good at math, or at least I'm happy with numbers. For the other cliche, well, let's discover them. So the cliches are about preconceptions that you might have had regarding finance, like I said, math and finance, but maybe you have others in mind. Sylvia, I will start with yours. What would be your cliche?
Well, saying that public university is low quality. I think our program is an example. We are, I think that, our results show that we're very successful in recruiting and placement of our students. So we are ranked on the Financial Times second for value for money internationally. And we are the only public university that is in the listing, and so we can show that we can have high quality level program in an affordable way.
Julie, as a student, do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, so following my graduations, I have not had any issues to find a job, and everything I learned I've been able to apply to my from my first role, and actually I was able for the interviews, for the internship, to explain difficult financial concepts in a very easy way, because I learned it as part of the program.
All right, well, so basically the best value for money is what you said. So you don't even need to pay that much to get a really high quality education.
This is also maybe a moment to say how much you have to pay, because...
Yeah, what does that mean, not that much? That's a true finance professor, I think.
Exactly, so we want numbers. So I think for the French and European students, it's 360 euros per year, so that's really not very much
compared to what you can
and have. For international students, so there was the government introduced fees for non-European students, and they are around 4,000 euros. So that still remains quite...
It has nothing to do with what you could meet on the market. So what would be your cliché?
Well, another cliché is, okay, we're based in Toulouse. What kind of jobs can you get in Toulouse if you do finance, and the main finance industries outside of Toulouse?
Aeronautics, maybe, I don't know.
Well, there are some well-known corporations dealing with aeronautics in Toulouse, and they do employ our students. They do have treasury, finance departments, obviously, as well. There are other big corporations in Toulouse, regional headquarters of French banks, of course, private equity funds, but there's a lot of our students don't stay in Toulouse. Okay, so a lot of them go to Paris or to Luxembourg, or other places worldwide, and I think Julie is an example of that. I don't know if you...
Yeah, I was going to ask her, let's check on your finance professor. Is he telling the truth or not? That was my next question.
Yeah, so myself, I did not stay in Toulouse. I moved to Paris just after graduations, or I did my internship, and then I got my whole career I have done in Paris. I have, co-students from the same year as me, who is in Paris or is based elsewhere around the world, in Spain, in London, and some people also, yeah. So that.
And you had a fantastic career. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it, but
yeah. I have a question regarding your career, and we'll ask about that later. What I was going to say is, not only is it good quality, it's Paris quality in some way. I would say, Toulouse quality should be like that, whatever, even London quality. So, name it, you have it. Let's discover what is it made of through the program. So maybe apart from everything that we've said already, what makes this master's degree outstanding?
Well, I would say, maybe to explain what makes it outstanding, let me go a step back. What it is needed for you to be a successful professional in finance. So in finance, as you said, you need numbers. If you want to sell a financial product, you need to know at what price you sell it. If you're a trader and you want to buy a stock, you need to know, at what price does it become a good buy. If you want to acquire, a whole company, you also need to know what is the price that you should pay. So we need a bit of a toolbox, which is where the maths comes in. But I think what we offer goes well beyond that. In particular, what we also want the students to do is understand the toolbox and be able to think, and not just blindly apply the toolbox, because that can actually be, in some cases, quite dangerous, to have this kind of false confidence in, because you have a model that therefore you will know the correct answer. And we want them to understand that actually maybe there are limitations. In what context does it make sense? The other thing is, the toolbox works fine when you get your first job, because you could just learn the newest version of it. But of course, you have a whole career to go through. And we want our students to be able to update, acquire new tools, and for that I think they need some critical thinking, which is something that we emphasize a lot. So in the classroom, you would not just be sitting there and we talk at you, and at the end of the day you learn by heart some tools and how to apply them, but you'll be peppered with questions all the time, and we'll force you to really think hard about problems and come up with solutions. And I think that's something that lasts, it's our hope that it'll last for a lifetime for those students. So I think that would be one I mean, there are other things
one
that I
aspect.
could add.
Obviously, I was like, what makes, yeah, obviously, but like, so would you say that this aspect, what makes it outstanding is part of the innovative teaching models?
I think that that's an additional part, which maybe Sylvia can also talk about. But I think that this is not just innovative teaching; it's what the objective of the teaching.
Okay, and so what would be innovative about the teaching models? Sorry, the teaching methods.
So a little bit. So as we said, the students' population when they arrive in September, they are very diverse. So with different backgrounds, different university systems. So we do face a problem of students which are maybe very strong in math, some others are very strong in economics, some others are very strong in accounting, and we have to bring them all to the same level. So especially at the beginning, we offer courses with a lot of extra material. So we ask them where there are asynchronized sessions so that they can work from home, and maybe the one that is very strong in maths is not going to take all the courses, so the details of the math course, because they have the notions as well, but maybe the ones that comes from accounting might need more time, so they can spend more time on that session. So vice versa, the one in maths is going to spend more time on the accounting part or on the economics part. And in this way, especially at the beginning, we allow them to work much more at their own pace. And on the second year, instead, we try to let them work much more on practical courses and practical applications, so that they are ready for the world afterwards.
What did you like about the pedagogy that you experience at TSM?
I think they have a very practical approach. So, it's not only about the theory, but also how you apply them in practice. And also, what Alex mentioned earlier, have the critical thinking. It's, it's 14 years since I graduated, but it's still part of my day-to-day to be able to challenge, the different concept or the different project that I'm being presented, and see, always ask the right questions, always don't take things for granted, but have a critical mindset. Yeah.
Apart from these critical mindsets, which skills have you developed?
I think also the communication skills, because at the program there's lots of international students, and so have different background, different cultures. You don't communicate with them in the same way, and also being able to work with different because we have some project together, so you have to work with different people, and that's a kind of skill set that would be very useful when you start working in corporations later on.
You mentioned the students who are internationals. Is it the same for the teachers that you face?
Yes, so all the teachers are international, well renowned within the respective field, and they bring and they do teach in other places than in TSM, so they bring this kind of international experience with them as well.
Is there any other international aspect we haven't said yet?
Well, the student body, I'm not sure how much we talked about that, but we have at least 50% non-French students. That's a pretty large fraction. There are also international exchange opportunities. So we have a double diploma with HEC Liège. There are opportunities to do Erasmus, so that that's also at the student level. And just to re-emphasize a little bit the faculty, Sylvia is Italian. She did a PhD in the Netherlands and then worked for Warwick Business School. I'm German. I did my PhD in Italy, and then I worked at the University of Oxford. Our French colleagues, they all spend time in the US, teaching at Princeton, Wharton, Carnegie Mellon. So, we have even, not just the passports, but in terms of the exposure that we have had, it's a very international exposure.
And if I may add, I mean, all the finance academics are also part of the Toulouse School of Economics, which is ranked 15th in the Shanghai, so is among the best, among the 15 best departments in economics in the world.
You mentioned the Financial Times, the Shanghai rankings. Is there any things that we need to know, like specifically? You say it was high quality. I guess those rankings is just another proof of that. How does it translate for the students, the fact that you've high ranked? What does it change for them?
Well, I think that maybe Julie can add to that, but what I would say that, well, first of all, this increased enormously our visibility vis-a-vis the recruiters. Because exactly, we fight against this cliche of the public school, not only with the students, but sometimes also with the companies. So with international companies, as Julie might tell us, there is less of this problem, but especially with French institutions, there is still a little bit this preconcept about public school, public university. And also, well, the students, I mean, since we have all this accreditation, well, first of all, it's a guarantee for the students of the quality, because we have auditors, we check that all our procedures are in place, that our concepts are in place, that are solid. And this also increased the visibility with our students. So the level of our students increases every year.
All right, you wanted to add anything about the rankings?
Yes, of course, it helped when you want to apply for role, because because you know, like in any corporations, they want to recruit the best one, and I think that if a school has a good ranking, it means that the quality of its program is good as well, and in order to maintain the ranking every year, they have to be innovative and they have to update the program. So yeah, definitely a plus.
One last question before we move on to the opportunities. EFMD accredited, what does that mean?
Well, EFMD is a European organization. Well, actually, it's an international organization based in Europe, which certify and audit certain type of universities and programs, and they check that all the procedures are in place and that the quality is fits the international standards. And we received 5 years accreditation. We're gonna go for now in February. We're gonna go for a second round, because the maximum is to have 5 years, and we hope to get again 5 years. I would like also to add that our program is EFMD accredited, but also Toulouse School of Management is has EQUIS, and this is there are really few public universities, less than a handful, that have this certification in France.
All right, now is the time to know what was the career of Julie right after. So we mentioned, Alex mentioned your career, and we haven't had time to go through it. So maybe you could tell us, what have you done since, if you want to share with us, obviously, what have you done since you've been graduated?
So since I graduated, I have worked in top tier 1 international banks. So I started off in the middle office of, global asset manager, but it's part of international bank, as pricing of derivatives. So very useful of what I learned in Toulouse. And then after that, I spent 7 years within the compliance divisions of this international bank as well, working with sales and traders, advising them on regulatory requirements. And then I moved role, and now I have a more strategic initiative roles, also within compliance, where I work on different projects for compliance. Yeah.
Is it the typical career opportunities that your students will have? Or what would be, another way of asking is, what would be the typical career opportunities students would have?
I think that it's, because we have these 3 different specializations, I think it's a little bit difficult to say what is...
because that's pretty impressive, so I was wondering, is it the same for all of your students?
Well, of course, not every single one of them, but no, I don't think that Julie is a total exception either. So, I think that she is on the successful side of our alumni, but there are others who have been equally successful. I was just going to say, in terms of the orientation, so not everybody goes into the more financial markets and derivatives orientation, which is the more hardcore finance, if you want. There are others that go more on in private equity, for example, or roles in corporations, which require probably less of the hardcore finance mathematical skills. So in that sense, it's maybe there's a wider range of opportunities. I don't know, Sylvia, if you want to add.
Yeah, then there are also others which go more in consulting type of firms. So it's very varied. Depends a lot on the interest. It depends a lot on the ambitions, because some, by personal choice, might prefer to have a quieter life. Some others prefer more adrenaline, as Julie. So it depends a lot, but basically that opens up all the possibilities to all the financial roles, depending on what you want to do in life.
Yeah, what I'm trying to know is, do you have any limits if you come out of the Toulouse School of Management Master of Finance, and your limits is only your willingness to do something, basically? Because if you would want to work in a top tier bank, like Julie mentioned, you could. A top tier consulting firm, you could. It's just between you and yourself. But once you've graduated, you have no limits due to your academics, is my question.
I would say.
Yeah, I think that's
that's a fair way.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Fair statement. All right.
And we have a very impressive alumni network at this stage, which is witness to the success the students had.
One last question, two last questions, sorry. We haven't talked about the student life. Do you still have time to have a student life? Or do you need more adrenaline? Like Sylvia, but in a nice way.
Like Toulouse is a great city for the student life. It's the second largest student city in France. So you have, so there's a wide range of student associations who organize a number of activities. And also in Toulouse, you have a very pleasant climate. It's a great food, lots of restaurants. There's also plenty of leisure that you can do in your spare time. You can spend the weekends in the mountains if you want, or by the sea if you want to. And also I would like to mention that the school is really located in the heart of Toulouse. So you're only 5 minutes away from Place Saint-Pierre, the capital, and housing is affordable. I think it costs around 600 euros, and the university also offer housing for some of the students, so it will be cheaper, like between 200 to 500. So it's a city which is, for me, ideal for students. It's affordable. It has a great student life, and also. After that, you can stay in Toulouse if you want to, and if you want to move to other cities to work, you have possibilities for that as well.
If I may add,
yes, obviously.
We have many international students, and with the fact of being students, after their study, they can remain in France. So there are all a session of possibilities of, in the moment in which you are accepted in the program, to remain also in France. Then you are not obliged, basically, to go back to your own country.
Okay, my last question was about rugby. Do you need to like rugby? Because when it comes to Toulouse, it feels like it's the national sport there. Do you need to be into rugby, or is it okay if you don't support rugby?
Well, it's okay if you don't, because while I was in Toulouse, there was the Rugby World Cup. So right. I was not really into it. I survived.
You will survive, okay. So that was another cliche we hadn't mentioned yet. Well, it's time to wrap up everything. It's time for extra time. Extra time is about saying something we haven't said yet, or maybe highlighting something we've already said, or maybe one last message you want to give the students watching. Julie, I will start with you. What would be your conclusion?
I say, if you're interested in finance and if you are mindful about your finance after your studies, don't want to have a lot of students' loans, go for the TSM Master Finance. You get the quality, and you will learn a lot, and you will meet new people that may change your life.
All right, thank you so much, Julie, for you telling us everything. Who wants to start?
Just go ahead.
Okay, Alex.
Come to Toulouse, you'll love it.
Come to Toulouse, you'll love it. That's a good conclusion. And don't play rugby.
Well, and I'm waiting for your package to be analyzed.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks to the three of you for answering all of my questions.
Thank you.
We just explored the TSM Master in Finance, among the leading EFMD accredited masters in finance worldwide, and ranked in the Financial Times. It is a rigorous and high-quality program, multicultural and fully taught in English, as you might have guessed. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon.